Hey guys, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to the Board Game Garden. Today, we're going to be talking about all the games that we played in the month of September, which I will say right off the top that September has been our best month so far this year of 2022, which is very exciting. We had a ton of different board game nights with a bunch of different people, and it just warms my heart thinking about all of the amazing memories that we made this month. I will be going over stats and stuff, but I do want to mention right now that these stats don't include anything that I played on BGA, which this past month in September, I actually started playing a lot more games on BGA. I will say that I do prefer, playing games physically, but it's been really fun playing more on BGA and just having more opportunities to try different games, even if it's not physically, still trying out different board games over there, which we actually over on the Board Game Garden Discord, which you guys do not know, the Board Game Garden does have a Discord. It's always linked down in the description if you guys want to join. It's actually not called the Board Game Garden, it's called the Game Garden, because I actually started that Discord back when I live streamed video games, which I started live streaming video games back in 2020. I live streamed things like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley and Story of Seasons, Genshin Impact, a bunch of different things. But I made that Discord back then, and I still have some people over there that follow for video games and stuff like that. So I kind of just made it the overall game garden, and we can just chat about any sort of games, whether they are tabletop board games, video games, just life in general. It's a fun time over there. So I always have that link down below. But at the beginning of September, we actually made a BGA channel, and we also made a BGA the Game Garden group that you can join and play games, and it's just been so much fun. And thank you to everyone that has joined the Game Garden group so far and have played board games with me. It's just been a great time. So we played a ton of different games there, but the ones that I'm going to be chatting about in the stats today are not including the ones that I played on BGA. But I played a total of 27 times, 3 times Castle of Burgundy, My Shelfie twice, 7 Wonders 3 times. I'm actually in a 7 Wonders tournament right now. Welcome to 6 times, Lost Ruins of Arnak twice. Dragon Castle was very fun. Played that once. Living Forest as well, I played that once. Point Salad, Happy City, the Isle of Cats twice, Barren Park, and Potion Explosion. So yeah, definitely Dragon Castle was a really fun, like, abstract game where you're taking tiles kind of in like a, I forget what it's called, mahjong? Mahjong? I think I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly, but you're taking 2 of the same icon tiles and then putting it onto your board, and then once you have like a big group of one color, you can flip them over and put a shrine on top. It was a lot of fun, so I enjoyed that one. Living Forest is another one that I almost purchased back when I was going between either purchasing Bitoku or Living Forest. I ended up purchasing Bitoku, but I kind of want Living Forest now because it was very fun. You're like flipping cards and kind of pushing your luck and trying not to get 3 of one icon. If you stop before you get 3 of one icon, you can do 2 actions, but if you do flip 3 of one icon, you can only do 1 action, and there's a bunch of different actions. You can put out fires, you can get trees to put onto your board, as well as get flowers, lotuses, I believe. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Definitely one that I would consider buying, as well as My Shelfie I would consider purchasing as well, just because I love the little like shelfie and you're like dropping things in, kind of like Connect 4. But anyways, that is everything that I played on BGA. 27 different plays. I'm still in like 13 games right now that probably started in September but haven't ended yet, so yes. Oh, I think I also played, did I say Wingspan? Yeah, I played Wingspan twice, which Wingspan has been like just recently added to BGA. But anyways, those are the BGA things. I'm getting off on a big tangent right now, but I do want to quickly go off on one more tangent before we get into the physical games that we played. But today is October 5th, and it is actually the day that the Stonemaier Games annual charity auction begins, and I was actually asked to be one of the 10 content creators to be featured in that. Basically, Stonemaier Games every single year, Jamie chooses 10 different content creators, whether that be YouTubers, Instagrammers, podcasters, just anything like that. He picks 10 that he enjoys their content and wants to, share them with other people. And each of those content creators gets to choose a charity of their choice, and each content creator has like a bundle that people bid, and then the winner of that auction for each of the 10 content creators gets the bundle, and then the money for the winning bidder actually goes towards that content creator's charity. And I actually chose the Animal Welfare Foundation of Canada, which is a fantastic foundation where they are not only helping dogs and cats and like companion animals, but they also help farm animals and wildlife. And it's just a fantastic foundation where they actually donate the money that they make to a bunch of different things across Canada. I actually saw a few years ago that they donated, I think like $10,000 to the Humane Society in my current hometown, which was really, really nice to see. But yeah, if you guys do want to go check that out, I will have the link to the charity auction down below. I will also have a link to the Animal Welfare Foundation of Canada website if you guys want to go check that out. But yes, I believe there's already a bid on the Board Game Garden post there that is $2,000, which is like, wow, absolutely fantastic. And I believe that Stonemaier Games also doubles that donation, so it's gonna be $4,000 to animals, which makes me very, very happy. But if you guys wanna go check that out and you don't have the means to bid, that is totally fine. You can actually just give a thumbs up to any of the 10 creator posts. And I believe the one that has the most thumbs up, all of those thumbs up will be another, I think it's $1 per thumbs up. That will be more towards that charity. So definitely go and give the Board Game Garden little section there a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Go help out the animals. It warms my heart so much. So huge thank you to Jamie for including me in this charity auction. But anyways, I apologize for all of that rambling. Thank you so much if you're still here and watching. But we're finally gonna get into the board game stats and all of the games that we played in September. So let's get into it. Okay, so starting off with the September stats. So in September, we played a total of 36 times, which is the most that we've done so far. I will say that that does not include the 27 that I played on BGA. If you do include those, then I think that's, I'm not even gonna do the math right now. I'll put it here. That's how much, if you include BGA, I played. But this also does include the games that I played solo, which I will be talking about in the next video. This is only going to be multiplayer that we played, and then I do another video where I chat about all the solo games that I played. But yes, 36 times, 25 different games, and I believe like 7 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think about 7 of them or 8 of them are new to us. So yes, it was a fantastic month and I'm so happy with the amount that we played. But let's get into all of the games, starting off with September 2nd, which was a Friday. Francis' parents came over. We started off with a game of Cascadia. I'm not going to go too much into Cascadia because I feel like I've talked about it a ton here on the channel recently, but Cascadia is a fantastic game. I think I played it a total of like 7, 8, 9 times, including the times that I played solo as well. I'm actually doing like a solo challenge with another Discord right now, and it's been a lot of fun, just trying to get like the highest score. So yes, we played Cascadia, the 4 of us. I think that might have been the day that we introduced Francis' parents to Cascadia. They really, really enjoyed it, and I think we played it another like 2 or 3 times with them after this. But the second game that we played that night was Kabuto Sumo, which this is published by BoardGameTables.com. I don't think I mentioned, but Cascadia is designed by Randy Flynn and published by Flat Out Games and AEG. Kabuto Sumo is BoardGameTables.com and it is designed by Tony Miller. And this is a dexterity game. It's one of the like maybe 2 or 3 dexterity games that we have. We don't have a ton, but this one is so much fun. Basically, you are a beetle wrestler and you have this little circular ring and you're pushing these little tokens onto the board in order to push others off. If you've ever seen at a like arcade where there's that one where you put in the coin and the coin gets pushed, and the more and more coins that get put into the machine, the more likely that all of them are going to fall. That's kind of the general gameplay of this one, where you're pushing things on in order to push other things off, and your ultimate goal is to push the competitor's beetle off of the board. And it is just such a fun back and forth. We played this 4 players with Francis's parents, and when you play 4 players, you do 2 versus 2, and each battle has, or each beetle has different abilities that you can use, and it is just such a fun dexterity game. It can go on for quite a while, I will say that. There's been some games where I kind of just want to end it just because it's going on for so long. Because basically you're going in, trying to push things off, and then, you know, the other players are, if they're getting close to the edge, going to save themselves. So there's kind of this back and forth of like, oh, I'm going to push off your beetle, but oh no, I'm going to save my beetle. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to push off your beetle. And then you're like, no, I'm going to save my beetle. So it's very back and forth. It takes a while, but eventually when you do push that player's beetle off the board, it is so satisfying and so much fun. Absolutely love this one. And everyone's like up off their chairs, moving around the table. Very involved game, but such a fun time. So that is Kabuto Sumo. Moving to the next day, which was September 3rd, we actually went over to Daryl's house, which Daryl Andrews. He is the designer of Sagrada, and Bosk is another one that he's designed. Dice Theme Park. He's designed a ton of different games, and he's actually a local designer. He lives just like 1 city over from us, and we started chatting on Instagram, and he, I believe, found my content here on YouTube, and we've become friends, and he invited us over for a board game night, which we're hoping to do more in the future. But we started off the night with, I think it was Francis and I, and then Allison and Eric actually introduced us to this game right here, which we ended up buying like a week or 2 later. But this is Push, which is a fantastic push your luck game that I am obsessed with. This game is so good. It is published by Ravensburger, and it is basically a game where you have there's cards that are one of 5 different colors and one of 6 different numbers, and you are flipping over these cards into 3 different piles. A pile cannot have more than 1 color, and it cannot have more than 1 number. So you're flipping these cards, and if you ever flip a card that can't be placed in one of those 3 piles, you bust, and each person gets a pile, and you're collecting different colors in front of you, and then on your turn, instead of flipping the cards, you can actually choose to bank your cards. I think that's what it's called. But all the numbers on the cards are just points in the end, and the ones that you bank are ones that can't be stolen, because if you do bust, you have to roll this die here, and if you roll the color, you have to get rid of all of that 1 color. It's a little bit confusing to explain, but basically you are taking, if you don't bust, you are taking a pile for yourself. The next person gets to choose a pile, and the next person gets to choose a pile. So you're trying to get the best cards for you and choose that pile and leave kind of the crappy cards for the other people. And there's also the cards that have the die on it, and if you're a person that gets one of those cards, you have to roll the die and potentially lose some of your cards in front of you. Very fun. It's an easy game. It's just a little bit hard to explain, like when you're sitting here in front of a camera, but it is so much fun. There's actually a variant where if you roll the black side of the die, you have to get rid of all of your cards. But the nice variant is if you roll the black, you don't have to get rid of any of the colors. So we're kind of, you know, wanting to maybe try the getting rid of all your cards, because I feel like that would be a little bit stressful and fun. But yeah, huge thank you to Eric for introducing us to Push. We really enjoyed it, and now we own it. So that's a good time. So we did Push. We also played a game of Concordia. I actually played a game of Concordia with Daryl, Adam, and Sean. I think I got 3rd, which isn't horrible, but Concordia is like one of my favorite games. I absolutely love that game so much. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I found that it was really fun playing with people that I've never played with before, because when we're playing, you know, I've always played Concordia with Francis, and I kind of know what he usually does in the game, and we've played it with I think Francis' family. We've played with his parents before. They tend to do the same thing, so it's nice to kind of play with people that you don't exactly know their strategies and how they think. So that was very, very fun. I believe Francis ended up playing a few smaller games. Anyways, yes, we played Concordia while Francis played a few other games. We ended up playing Time's Up, which is a very fun one that we actually ended up purchasing as well. It is published by R&R Games, I believe. And this is a similar game to, if you've ever heard of Monikers. Basically, you are going on to teams and you have cards that just say a bunch of random things like songs, song titles, song lyrics, artists, movies, TV shows, actors, actresses, games. The list goes on and on. There's like so many different things. It's just very, very random. And the first round, you are taking those cards and trying to get your group to guess what the card says by just talking. You can just explain it without saying obviously what is on the card. And if your team does get it, you get that card. And you're going through this deck and you're going back and forth between the teams. And on the second round, you actually take those exact cards. So you already know the words that have been said before, and in this round you can only say one word. So people are kind of trying to think back to the first round and the different things that were used to explain those things and trying to get those cards. And then the third round, you're taking those same cards again and doing only acting. So more of a charades, and obviously at the end of the game, whoever had the most cards in all three of these stages is the winner, and it is just such a fun game. We actually played it during the most recent board game weekend vlog that I put up. It was a few videos ago. It was such a blast. It is such a good game. We played it with another group of friends just this past weekend. I think there was like 13 or 12 of us. So that is Time's Up. Such a fantastic game. I will say that I think Monikers is a little bit more of an updated version of it, and the clues might be a little bit easier for people more in like my generation, like late 20s, early 30s, but yes, such a fantastic game. The number one thing that Eric actually said during the game was that you don't necessarily have to know what the thing is that you're explaining. You just kind of explain it word for word. But yes, we had a lot of fun with that one. We also played Green Team Wins, which is one that I do not have physically. We do want to get it, but basically it's kind of the opposite of the game Just One, where you're trying to have a different clue. In Green Team Wins, you're trying to think of, there's a card that like asks you not necessarily a question, but just like a fill in the blank or a multiple choice or anything like that. And you're trying to think what everyone at the table is going to answer, and you're trying to stay on the green team. So whenever you answer the majority, you get to be on the green team. If you answer not majority, you get put on the orange team, and you have to answer the majority again to get back on the green team. So really, really good party game. I think Francis and I said that we kind of enjoyed it more than we do Just One. Just One is another fantastic party game, but Green Team Wins, it was a lot of fun. So that was another one we played. And then we also played like a dice bluffing game. I'll see if I can find it and I'll put it right here. But that one was a lot of fun too. I believe I was like the first one out, so that was a little bit sad, but it was a good time. And overall, the game night with Daryl was fantastic. All of the people there were so, so nice, and I'm so, so excited to, I say so a lot, but I'm very excited to play some more games with Daryl. Oh, he also did give us Newsfjord to try out, which Francis and I want to play soon. So yes, anyways, that was the board game night at Daryl's. Next up, we had a board game night with Francis' family. We played So Clover, which I talked about in last month's video. We also played Medium, which I talked about in that video. We played Cascadia again, and then we also played Kabuto Sumo again. So that was a very like light party game kind of night with Francis' family. It was a lot of fun. And then the next game we played is one that I've been getting a lot of questions about, that people have been seeing in the background of my videos, and that is Lacrimosa, this game. So this is published by DeVere and it's designed by Gerald Asensi and Farron Renales. I'm so bad at saying people's names. I apologize. But Lacrimosa was sent over by Javier. It is currently being released, I believe, at Essen, which I think is starting tomorrow. It might have actually started today. But yes, it will be available very soon. Lacrimosa is a great game. Francis and I played it twice throughout the month of September. We played it just the two of us, kind of like a learning game. First, we did do one rule wrong, but then in the next time we played it on the live stream, which if you guys do not know, we have a Twitch channel, the Board Game Garden. We stream board games usually every Tuesday and Sunday. Sometimes we have to move things around a little bit. But yes, we did live stream this one, and I believe the VOD is still up for you to go and check out if you want to see the gameplay. But basically, Mozart has passed away, and you are trying to prove yourself as a patron of his to his widow in order to be like featured in his memoir, I believe. And I guess you're kind of like going back in time to show his widow these things that you've done to prove yourself in a way. But the mechanic or mechanism that I love in this game is the card tucking. Basically, you have your player board and you are choosing a card to tuck at the top to use its icon, and at the bottom to gain your, like, there's 3 different types of currency in the game, so you're gaining those through the card that you're tucking at the bottom. There are different icons that you're tucking at the top, like purchasing a card. This is a not really deck builder because you always have 9 cards, but a deck configuration game, I guess. So you can buy new cards. If you do buy a card, you have to replace one of the ones that you had already placed. You can also put, there's like a little bit of an area majority at the bottom of the board. So you can do that. You can travel in the middle of the board to get different things, to get some end game kind of bonuses or goals. You can purchase, what are they called? Opuses? Opuses, which are like pieces of music that you can perform or sell for resources, and you're upgrading your cards to better actions, and it is just such a fantastic game. Like I said, I will be going more in depth in a separate video where I can actually show you guys the components. I will be showing you a little bit over top of this, but yes, I will definitely explain it more in that video and my thoughts on it and all of the different categories that I do for the reviews. But overall, I will say now that Francis and I really enjoyed Lacrimosa. I've heard a lot of other good things from other content creators that they really enjoyed it as well. But yes, such a fantastic game. So many things going on, but it's just so satisfying when you can do so many different things and take so many different paths, I guess. So that is Lacrimosa. We played that to 2 players on September 10th, kind of as a learning game. And then we actually live streamed a few days later. We played the game Concept and we played Philosophy, which I do have down there. I've already chatted about both these games before, but Philosophy is a fantastic abstract 2-player game that Francis and I really enjoy. I believe Philosophy is still up on Gamefound if you guys want to go check that out. I will have it linked below. And then we also played Concept during that stream as well with chat, which is a lot of fun. Concept is a great like party game. I should have got it, but you're trying to get everyone to guess what is on your card with different clues, and you're putting these clue cubes on a board to try to explain to them what it is. Such a good game, absolutely love it. And then that following Friday, Francis' parents came over again. We typically have board game nights with Francis' parents on Friday nights. It's just a thing that happens a lot, but on that game night, we actually introduced them to Push, which was a lot of fun. They really enjoyed that one. I got a few videos of them having the best time with that one. But it's just so much fun when like someone rolls and like their biggest pile of collected cards has to get taken away because they rolled that color. Oh, it is just so funny. But also, Francis' dad did have to leave, but we did introduce Francis' mom. And I believe I introduced Francis to it because I only played this solo before. but we played a 3-player game of Creature Comforts. This was a game that was given to me by Kids Table Board Games, so thank you so much. Sean, actually, the one that was at Daryl's house, brought this for me, so a huge thank you to Sean. But Creature Comforts is a little game where you are a little family of critters and you are going out and collecting resources to make your den cozy for the winter, which I think is the cutest thing. This is like the coziest game that I have in my collection, which makes me so happy. I did play this solo as well, so I'll talk about that in the solo video, but multiplayer, I did enjoy it. I will say that the downtime between turns is a little bit long, so I feel like 3, maybe 4 might be pushing it, but 3-player might be the best. 2 or 3 players might be the best, just so there's not as much downtime between turns, but you are placing your workers and then using die and allocating in the different spots that you put your workers to then gain certain resources, to buy cards and upgrades for your den, and it's just the cutest thing ever. So that is Creature Comforts. Such a fantastic, pretty lightweight. It's not too difficult. I could picture, my niece is 10 or 11. I could picture her being able to grasp the concept of Creature Comforts. So really cute, not super complicated, but still enough to like keep me as an avid board gamer interested. Yeah, really fun. Really happy with Creature Comforts. So that is what we played on that Friday night. Francis and I then played 2 more games during a live stream. We played some 2-player games. We played 7 Wonders Duel, which is one that we've had in the collection for a while. 7 Wonders is one of my favorite games. I absolutely love that game and have loved it for a very long time. And we actually grabbed 7 Wonders Duel not too long after 7 Wonders, probably like a year later. And Francis and I really enjoy this one. It is very similar to 7 Wonders, but instead of drafting cards from your hand, you are drafting from a setup in the middle, and you are taking cards and placing them in front of you. And I believe if you have to use resources, you are paying the bank, but then also a little bit to your opponent. And you're doing the same things as in 7 Wonders, building your wonders and collecting the blue cards and the science and different things like that. War, I believe you can win through war. You have this little tug of war thing where if someone plays a war card, the thing moves towards you. But if you play one, it moves away. And if you ever get like to a certain point closest to you, your opponent wins. If the science person collects one of every single science icon, they win. So there's different ways to completely just like win before the game ends, which I think is really cool. But yes, I do want to potentially in the future try some of the 7 Wonders expansions, the 7 Wonders Duel expansions, sorry. I think there are 2 of them that add just a little bit more of a challenge to the game and just a little bit more to the game in general, which I feel like since Francis and I play so many board games, we would love to have a little bit more to the game and a little bit more challenge. So that is 7 Wonders Duel. And then we also played Radlands, which is another 2-player head-to-head game that I chatted about in last month's video. So I won't get too much into that one, but Francis and I really enjoy Radlands. We played it, I think about 3 times now. We played it on stream. It was a lot of fun. It is so good. Like, it's such a good head-to-head game. If you ever need like a 2-player head-to-head game, I definitely recommend Radlands. The art is fantastic, and just like the back and forth of trying to defeat your opponent's camps and all 3 of those, but before they defeat yours, it's just a lot of fun. I think Francis mentioned that he also wants to get the, I think they're called hazmats, but they're like the play mats that you can use to organize the card layout, which I think is one thing that we need in our game, because we are constantly trying to set up our cards in a certain way, but we don't know like exactly where things need to be. So the playmats actually give you spots that you can like put the cards in an exact format of the game. So we might get those in the near future, but that was our live stream. We then went over to Francis' parents' house. I believe his mom was alone for that week because his dad was traveling for work. So we went and visited her. We brought Cascadia, of course, and we played that yet again. She really enjoys that one. And then we also played Dog Lover, which Dog Lover is published by AEG and designed by David Short, and this is one of my favorite games. I love this game so much. I believe this was in my most recent video of like my 10 comfort games. Dog Lover is one that I just, it just warms my heart. It has the cutest art with all these different dogs, and you have your different dogs in front of you that you're trying to draft cards to feed and give toys and take on walks, and it's just the cutest thing. There's a 3x3 layout of cards in the center, and you have tricks, which is basically the configuration that you can draft cards. So you start out with a basic trick, which is just a straight line, so you can draft in any straight line you want, but then you can get training books or training cards that you can actually trade in for more tricks that allow you to draft in different configurations. And it's just so much fun drafting cards. I discovered in that video that I just love drafting, and drafting brings me a lot of joy. So, okay, and then getting to our last few, the most recent board game weekend that we had that I vlogged and put on the channel was with our friends Tom and Asha. That was, I think, like 2 videos ago before this one. But in that, or on that board game day / weekend, we played 6 different games. First was Push. We played that one yet again. We also played Time's Up again, which I already talked about. And we also played Cascadia, which I already talked about. We played Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, which I have over there. I should have got it, but I think I've talked about Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. I think it was in one of these monthly recaps, but it is a fantastic engine builder, tableau builder game where you have your 5 stage cards and you're all playing one at the same time, and those represent the actions that you can do on your turn. So all of the cards, so for example, if 2 people played the stage 1 card, 1 person played stage 2, and 1 person played stage 4, we would all do stage 1, 2, and 4. So that's kind of the basic premise of what you can do on your turn. And then you're buying different colored cards to put in your tableau that give you different things. Some give you like a reward that you get every single stage type thing. Some give you like actions that you can do on another stage. It is such a good game. And we have not played Terraforming Mars, the original one, but we do really love Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. So I would eventually love to try out Terraforming Mars. And then the next day we played Fleet the Dice game, which I believe I've chatted about before, but it is a pretty heavy roll and write where you are a fisherman and you're filling out things. You're drafting these fish die, and then you're drafting town die, and you're filling in 2 different sheets. One having a bunch of different types of fish and different licenses that you can get for those specific fish that give you abilities, and you're launching boats that then you can put fish on, and fish are victory points at the end, so you're trying to get as many fish and boats as possible. And the other side is shops that you can have different abilities on, and you're collecting points or coins that give you bonus actions. It's just very fun, very satisfying, much like, you know, Three Sisters and Hadrian's Wall. It's just very combo-tastic, if you will, and I really enjoy those types of roll and writes. And then we also played one that I have not talked about yet on the channel, and that is Architects of the West Kingdom. I might have actually talked about this in one of these wrap-ups, but I don't know if I talked about it too much because it was the first time that we played it. Francis and I did play this at Breakout Con back in June or May, but we played it kind of, you know, learning as we went. We got taught by a really nice gentleman there, and then we ended up purchasing it, and we played it again with Tom and Asha at 4 players. You guys can actually see that in the vlog as well, but we had so much fun with this one. I love this game. I'm excited to play it more. It is a worker placement game, but you are accumulating workers on different spots to gain more and more resources. So you could be placing a worker, or you're like 4th worker on a spot, and that's how many of a certain resource you'll get. So if you place just 1 worker there, you get 1 wood, but if you place 4 workers there, you get 4 wood, and you're just accumulating and accumulating, but then your opponents can actually take your workers and put them in prison, so then you have to go and get them out of prison, and you're building up again kind of like a little tableau with different buildings and different assistants. We've discovered that Francis and I really enjoy tableau building and like engine building in a way, so this one is one that we really enjoy. Also with the worker placement as well. It's a game that just all around is great for us. So that is Architects of the West Kingdom. And I believe that was everything for the board game weekend with Tom and Asha. And then we played Time's Up with his parents. Again, we played Time's Up quite a bit this month. And then we also played Funfair, which is one I don't think I've talked about too much here on the channel yet. But Funfair is published by Good Games Publishing, and it is designed by Joel Finch, and it is a fun little, again, card drafting game and tableau building game where you're building a little amusement park, and you are building, I believe you can only build 5 attractions, but then you're upgrading those attractions with different things. You can put themes on your attractions, and you have like blueprint cards that you're trying to achieve different goals to get points, and you're making income from those attractions to buy more cards, and it is such a fabulous game. I really enjoy Funfair. It is pretty simple. It's like a pretty light game, but if you enjoy card drafting as well as tableau building and you want just a nice, light, easy to table game about amusement parks, then this is a good one to check out. It is 2 to 4 players, but I believe there is a Board Game Geek fan-made solo variant for this one. I think you do have to like print out some cards. So there are a few different solo variants. Like there's also one for Seven Wonders Duel, but they require you to print out cards. So I just need to take some time to print out the cards for some of these solo variants so I can try them out. But yes, that is Funfair. They also have Unfair, which I am very interested to try as well. But Funfair is a really fun one. I do hope that maybe in the future they come out with some expansions for Funfair, maybe some more like themes and stuff. I know they've done that with Unfair, but they haven't done it with Funfair, so I'm hoping they do that. But yes, absolutely love Funfair. Okay friends, so we have all of the games here that I have physically. Obviously there were a few more that we played that I don't have physically, or ones that I've already chatted before about, but these are all of the new to the channel ones that I wanted to chat about today. And now we need to pick a top 3, which I don't know why I do this to myself every month because I have such a hard time picking, but I will say that the 2 on top, both Time's Up and Push, these ones are going to be honorable mentions because it's so hard to compare these type of games, the ones that just bring so many like funny memories and laughs and joy, and like they're very lighthearted kind of party games, so it's really hard to compare them to games like Lacrimosa and Architects of the West Kingdom. So these are going to be honorable mentions. I really enjoyed both of these. If you're looking for just lighthearted fun games to play with groups, really good ones, but they're not going to be in the top 3. But I will say that in 3rd place, I think it's going to go to Creature Comforts. I really enjoyed this game. I wish the downtime between turns was a little bit shorter. I was really happy to see that it went up to 5 players, but I don't think that I would ever want to play this with 5 players. Very much like Parks, I think this is one that I think I will enjoy most at lower player counts, either solo, 2 players, maybe 3 players. But I will talk about how I felt about the solo a little bit more in the solo video. But yes, number 3, or in 3rd place, is Creature Comforts. And then for number 2, I was actually going between 2 for number 1 and number 2, and they are very close. I can like hardly decide between the 2, but I think I have decided that my number 2 is Lacrimosa. This one is a fantastic game, I will say, but we have yet to play it at 4 players, so I would really love to play this 4 players before I give like my full like, oh it's amazing, number 1 for sure kind of thing. So Lacrimosa is number 2, Great game. I love all of the different routes that you can take. There's so many things to do throughout the game. The board is gorgeous, and I just love the whole concept of the game, and it brings in a few different things that I haven't really done in any other game. So I really, really enjoy that. But I did enjoy number one just a slight bit more. And number one is Architects of the West Kingdom, which I will say we have played it both at 2 players now and at 4 players. We played it with Tom and Asha, and we really, really enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed it. It was probably my favorite of the entire weekend when we did play with them, and I just love this game. I don't know if it was maybe that I was just so surprised how much I really enjoyed this game, because when we first were looking into Architects of the West Kingdom, I was a little bit weary because of the whole taking the competitor's workers and putting them in jail, or your competitor taking your workers and putting them in jail. I was a little bit weary of that because I'm not a huge fan of like mean things in games, but I really enjoyed the workers getting put in jail. It's a lot of fun, and kind of like stopping your opponents from getting too many resources by just like taking all their workers and putting them in jail. But that at the same time, you can like pay to take your workers out of jail if you like don't want your opponents to gain coins for your workers, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like, haha, you try to take my workers, but you didn't get anything from it because I took them before you could. I love that part of the game. So yes, Lacrimosa and Architects of the West Kingdom, very, very close, but Architects is just this little bit more. I do really love the whole like paying for the buildings and the assistance and stuff like that as well. But at the same time, Lacrimosa offered a lot of very unique things that I've never done in games before. So anyways, those are my top 3: Creature Comforts, Lacrimosa, and Architects of the West Kingdom. And then also honorable mentions for Time's Up and Push. But yes, that is everything for today's video. I feel like I talked so much throughout this entire video, so I apologize for this. I feel like this video is going to be very long, but if you did make it to the end, use this emoji in the comments. I did this in Francis and I's top 10, or like our 20 to 11 video. I did this and it was a lot of fun seeing all of the emojis down in the comments. So use that emoji in the comment section if you made it to the end so that I know. And let me know down in the comments what your top 3 games of the month was. I'd love to chat about that down below. And yeah, I love you guys so, so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in my next board game video. Bye, friends.